Welcome to Beyond the Buzz, where curiosity meets clarity. I'm Dr. Tara Moroz, scientist and communicator with decades of experience translating complex human research into clear, evidence-informed insight. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest wellness obsessions of the last few years, microbiome health and probiotics. If you've been on social media recently, you've probably seen creators swirling kombucha, comparing supplement strains, or claiming that balancing your gut will transform everything from mood to digestion. And the scale of the conversation is massive. The TikTok hashtag #GutTalk has been watched over 1.9 billion times in the United States alone. So let's unpack what people are actually saying, what the evidence shows, and why the microbiome has captured the cultural imagination in such a powerful way. Let's start with the claim. The buzz around gut health often sounds like this: your microbiome is the key to everything. Many creators suggest that probiotics can fix gut imbalance, reset digestion, or even boost mood. It's not uncommon to hear that a single supplement can rebalance your entire system. This is reinforced by how quickly the industry has exploded. The global probiotics market is already worth nearly $100 billion and is projected to more than double to over $220 billion by 2030. That scale tells us two things. People are deeply invested in the idea of improving gut health, and businesses know it. But big numbers and bold claims don't necessarily translate to solid evidence. So before we decide whether probiotics are miracle workers or just another wellness trend with excellent marketing, let's check the receipts. Let's check the evidence, our kind of receipt check. This is the moment to pause and ask the questions that matter. What's the evidence? What's the source? And how do we know? Here's what the evidence shows. First, probiotics can influence the gut microbiota, but not in a universal or sweeping way. A 2024 study notes that probiotics are capable of interacting with the gut microbiome and can modulate it under certain conditions, but their effects are strain-specific and context-dependent. That's a very different story from the one-size-fits-all claims circulating online. When researchers zoom in on specific populations, the picture becomes clearer and more nuanced. A 2025 systematic review and meta-analysis examining older adults found that probiotics, prebiotics, and symbiotics can shift microbiota composition, but the direction and significance of those changes depend heavily on the individual study and product used. In other words, effects are measurable, but not uniform. We also see emerging work in mental health, where the gut-brain connection is a major driver of online buzz. A 2023 systematic review on patients with major depressive disorder found that probiotic supplementation can alter gut microbiota profiles, but emphasized that the research is early and outcomes vary across trials. This is promising, but still far from definitive claims about mood transformation. And when we turn to expert guidance, the message is consistent. Probiotics can be useful in some situations, but they're not a cure-all. The 2024 World Gastroenterology Association guidelines highlight that benefits depend on specific strains for specific purposes, and that not all products on the market have validated effects. Across all these sources, one theme stands out. Probiotics are tools, not magic. They can influence the microbiome, but the magnitude, consistency, and clinical significance of those effects depend on who you are, what strain you use, and why you're taking it. So why does this trend resonate? For one, the idea of fixing your gut taps into a deep desire for control, especially when health feels uncertain or confusing. The microbiome is invisible, complex, and constantly described as out of balance, which creates a perfect opening for solutions that promise to restore order. There's also something deeply appealing about a single daily ritual: a probiotic capsule, a fermented drink, a scoop of powder that claims to support your entire system. It's simple, it's tangible, and it feels like you're doing something proactive. Add to that the aesthetic of the trend: bright jars, clean wellness branding, and influencers sharing personal gut health journeys. It makes microbiome care look not just scientific, but aspirational. Gut health has become a story about empowerment, even if the evidence is far more selective and nuanced than the narrative suggests. So what's the takeaway? Probiotics can influence the gut microbiome, and certain strains have documented effects. But these effects are specific, not sweeping, and they don't automatically translate into broad wellness outcomes. The market and the social media buzz are huge, but size doesn't equal certainty. The real opportunity isn't in treating probiotics as miracle fixes, but in understanding them as one piece of a much larger picture of gut health, a picture shaped by diet, stress, sleep, and individual biology. If you're considering probiotics, the best starting point is simple: match the strain to the purpose and look for evidence that supports that specific use. The microbiome matters, but it's not a shortcut. Something to reflect on. How much of your impression of probiotics comes from personal experience? And how much comes from the collective buzz of social media and marketing? If you found this useful, follow Beyond the Buzz and share it with a friend who likes a little science with their scroll. You can also explore the full sources and vote in this week's poll in the Evidence Edit. This is Beyond the Buzz, cutting through the hype because evidence is empowering.